Okay, guys, so we're going to officially dive into chapter 10, which is your last chapter left in this semester, actually. So, circle geometry, okay? So, before that, this document here, it's what I made last year, which is really, really important, is are all the rules you need to remember that are not going to be given to you never, even in high school, okay? So, these are all the rules you have to remember in circle geometry. So, I'm going to talk about chapter 10.1 today, and then so maybe only this page is applicable to you for this 10.1, okay? So let's go through each one of them. Mr. Bing, in her intro video, she has touched on lots of them, but here is just a review so that you can actually get through the lesson quickly and more effectively, okay? So first of all, if an inscribed angle basically means there's an arc there and then there's an angle there based on the arc, okay? So angle C is the inscribed angle basically. And then a central angle is basically this, okay? And because that's touching the center of the circle. So yeah, so if, do you see that angle O and angle C, they actually have the same arc. They share the same arc here. Oopsie. They share the same arc AB, so that means this angle here is twice as this, okay? Let's say if this is 80 here, this can be 40. If this is 100, this is 50, okay? So if they share the same arc and one of them is central, one of them is inscribed, then the central angle is 2 times the inscribed angle. Okay, that's one of the rules. This document is really important. It's on Dropbox. Okay, it's on my Dropbox, so everyone can download it and maybe print it out as you do the exam and quizzes. Okay, it's a cheat sheet basically. Okay, so next rule. Do you see that these are two inscribed angles, okay, C and D? Angle C and angle C are two inscribed angles because they're touching the edge of the circle, and they share the same arc AB, so that means the two angles are the same, okay? And then A and B, angle A and angle B, angle CAD and angle CBD, okay? These two angles here. They are inscribed angle 2, sharing the same arc, CD, so that means they are the same as well. Okay, you're often gonna see this kind of like design and just automatically it pops into your head that you have two inscribed angle pairs. Okay, cool. And semicircle inscribed angle. So if you see that the arc, this is an inscribed angle, inscribed angle, inscribed angle, and their arc is basically half of the circle, okay? The chord is the bisect of the circle, okay? The bisect of the circle. So in that case, if it's a semicircle and you have an inscribed angle, it's always 90 degrees, okay? It's always 90 degrees. So, and the other one is, okay, any triangle formed by two radius, if you see something like this, if the triangles are formed by two radius, that means the two sides are the same. Of course, they're just all radius, and the two angles are the same, okay? They're isosceles triangles, same side, same angles, okay? And rule number 5, all central angle in a circle add up to 360. Of course, that's different, just all parts of a pie, okay? So add up to 360. And a supplementary angle is when two angles just form a 180 degree together, okay? Complementary angle is two angles form 90 degrees together. Okay, you have to actually just, it's really hard to see when you are given a really complicated picture, but you just keep the rules in mind, please. And for example, these two, let's say these two here, they're complementary angles, supplementary angles, because the two red angles, they add up to be 180, okay? So yeah, let's dive into 10.1. Okay, so point C, it's the center of the angle. Okay, angle AEB. So from A to E to B. So this angle here is 35 degrees. Okay, and then what's the measure of ADB? So ADB. So this angle here. Okay, justify your answer. Do you see that? Do they share the same chord? AB, yes. So according to our rules here, inscribed angles sharing the same chord, they're the same. Okay, so they measure the same measurement. So if E is AEB is 35, then ADB should be 35 as well. Okay, done. What's the measure of ACB then? ACB has a chord of AB. So ACB, this one here, is the same chord as our E and our D. Okay, do you agree? So all of these angles, the three angles here share the same exactly chord AB. So that means if these two are 35, then the central angle here, according to our rule here, if this is 35, this should be 70, okay? Because it doubles that one. So it should be, this one should be 35 times 2, which is 70 here, okay? Done. Okay, so the point C is the center of the circle, ADAB. DAB is 55, okay? So that's an inscribed angle, and the arc is BBD, okay? What's the measure of the angle DEB? DEB, it's another inscribed angle with chord BD, okay? So that means these two, I'm going to highlight it. This angle here and this angle here, they're sharing the same chord here. They're sharing the same chord BD, okay? So that means angle A and angle E are the same. So that means we can just write straight is 55 because they're the same. Okay? What's the measure of DCB? Okay, DCB, where's DCB? DCB, okay, that's our central angle here. Does it have the same chord as our previous two smaller angles? Yes. So if this is 55, this should be 55 times 2, okay? 110. Angle, sorry, I'm just going to write it here. Angle DCB equals to 110. Okay, let's do that. So 110. Great, next. So what's the measure of, so I'm just going to read the question first. C is the central point of the circle. Diameter AB is 10. Chord BD is 6. Okay. So according to our rule here, do you see that this is a semicircle here? You are dividing a semicircle. You have a diameter there labeled for you. So that rule pops to our head. So if you have a semicircle, if you have a diameter labeled for you, and the chord is actually half of the circle, then all the inscribed angle based on the chord or based on the semicircle is 90 degrees. It's a right angle. Okay. So here, do you see that the chord here is a diameter and the arc is actually a semicircle? So that means D is a right angle. Okay, measure of ADB is 90 degrees. Okay, you have to, like, even though like you have this cheat sheet there, you have to understand every single rule. You have to make sure that you remember them, so when you see question, it pops into your head that, oh, this is the rule that I need to remember. Okay, so what's the length of the chord AD? This chord here. Okay, it's a right triangle, so you are using Pythagorean theorem. Okay, so a squared plus b squared equals to c squared, and c is the hypotenuse, which is the diameter here, AB. Okay, so a, let's assume a is 6 squared plus AD, we don't know, question mark squared, and c is 10. Okay, and solve it. How do you solve it? Oh, actually I have to write things here, but it's okay if you wrote it there. I'm just gonna move it to here because it gives us space. Okay, so 36 plus what will give you 100? Question mark squared equals to 34. Okay, question mark equals to 8. Okay, done. So that means line AD is 8 centimeters here. Cool. Next, practice. You can do pause here, do it by yourself, and come back to me. Okay, let's do it together. So C is the center of the circle, central circle ACB. Okay, so that sounds like 90 degrees. Okay, so AB is a diameter, so yes, of course, that's 180 degree there. Okay, just a straight line. Chord AD is 12, BD is 5. What's the measure of ADB? ADB, that's an inscribed angle based on the semicircle arc and the diameter chord. Okay, so that's half of the circle. That means it's 90 degrees here. ADB equals to 90 degrees. It's a right triangle. What's the length of diameter AB? So yeah, Pythagorean theorem. A squared plus b squared to c squared. AB here is actually the hypotenuse. The longer side is the longest side of the triangle. So a squared is, let's say, is 12 squared plus 5 squared equals to c squared, which is AB. Okay, squared. So let's solve it. 144. Sorry. 144 plus 25 equals to AB squared. Okay, so 169 is AB squared. AB should equal to 13 because square root of 169 is 13. Okay, great. Next. This question is more of an application question. So it's basically saying that X, if you send in X here, you're using a camera of field of view of 70 degrees. So if you hold a camera there, if you hold your camera there, the camera can actually take a screenshot, the whole view of the house, because the view of point, the view angle view, and the angle of the view is 70 degrees. But he actually has, what if he wants to take another photo and he only has a lens with a 35 field of view? So that means half of it, okay? Half of it, if you just do it here, half of if the camera only has this wide of a view, it cannot take the whole picture of the house. And where can he stand to take the whole picture of the house then? Now we are using the principle of our circle geometry rules. So if he stands here, that's 60. Let's say this is the center of the circle. Anywhere he stands on the edge of the circle, he can take the picture of the whole view because this 35 is half of 70, okay? And they share the same arc, which is the same chord, which means that this is the entire house. So that this is the range of the entire house. If you want to cover the same arc, you have to halve the angle. Okay, so anywhere he stands on the edge of the circle, he can actually take a picture of the whole house. If he stands here, it will be like this. That's still 35, okay? Because inscribed angle are always the same if they share the same arc. Okay, that's just a simple application question. So using circle geometry rules, okay? And this one here, the camera view of 50, this is a camera, the camera view, let's say this is a flower. Okay. Okay. And then this is a camera, has a field of view of 50. Then a flashlight has a field of view of 25. Where do you put the flashlight so it will cover the same field of view? So it's the same questions as that. So this is the center circle sharing the same arc. You just draw a random inscribed angle. This will be a 25, okay? So that's where you put the flashlight. Can you put it here? Of course you can, okay? So as long as your vertex of the triangle is on the, oh, this is a really bad straight line, is on the edge of the circle. Okay, so anywhere, these points all works. These points here, they all works. Okay. So yeah, homework for 10.1 are these. So for 10.1, question 3 to 7 and 10 to 15. Okay. Yeah, good luck.